Welcome back to the HERmony Podcast, the podcast to help you get hotter, happier, and healthier without the hustle. I help you to step in harmony with your body, mind, and spirit so that you can finally become her, the version of you that you've always wanted to be. So, this is episode 2. So excited. One, because I've made it back for episode 2 on time, on the right day, ready to go, which is good. And 2, because I've been really looking forward to this because I actually had a lesson that I think will be really, really useful. So if you didn't know, the way the podcast works is it's like my favourite meal, so it's chicken and waffles. So we start with the waffle. That's just me kind of telling you things like that's been going on with me in my week. And then from that, hopefully we lead into the meat, the chicken, which is like anything that I can kind of teach you guys or a lesson that I can kind of give that I think will be relevant for this week. And then finally, we've got the Q&A, which is the seasoning, the little maple syrup or gravy, whatever you prefer. So getting into it, I want to tell you about my week this week because it's been so obviously we're in February now. I quit my job, if you didn't know, in December and started a completely new business, which is this business here, in January. And my business is purely based on helping women to step into their dream bodies by doing the inner work first, reprogramming your mind and your body for success. And it's been great. I've really enjoyed it, but I didn't realize how much of a sharp shock it was going to be in terms of going from part-time content creator, part-time PT, because obviously what PT requires is some sort of content creation, to full-time content creator. It's been a big jump, and because I've gone from literally having a job to not having a job and this being my full-time job, there's been an element of pressure on it that I kind of wanted to pop off rather quickly. And so, yeah, that's kind of what I've been feeling this week. So even though everything's been going so well, I've been really pleased with the progress that I've made. There's an element of pressure on wanting things to go right or go well. And what's come with that pressure is I have been stepping out of the routines that I tend to normally have. But the problem with that is them routines are what keeps me regulated. So, for example, in the mornings, I will get up, I'll make myself a lemon and hot water. Then I will do my meditation. I'll do some lymphatic drainage, use my face brush, take the dog for an early walk. On that walk, I will try and have the first half of the walk where I don't do anything. So I'll just see how many things I can see, how many textures I can notice, what I can feel. So sensations with kind of things brushing against your skin or your feet on the floor. Engaging as many senses as possible. And a couple of other bits and bobs. Then I'll come home from that and before I get into work, I'll do a bit of visualization and a few affirmations just to step into the version of myself that I want to be that day. And these are rituals that I've carried through for years and they have been really helpful to me. But when I start to feel stressed and pressured, these things fall away because I create a sense of urgency of oh my god, no, this is more important. I need to get this done. I need to put more time into filming this or planning for this or whatever I decide it needs to be. And so slowly then practices that keep me feeling grounded and keep me feeling safe and keep me kind of present, they just fall away. And that's kind of the teaching point that I want to bring on into this today, because what that then caused was I don't want to say a capitulation, but it caused me to go into a state where was unrecognizable from where I started at the beginning of the week. So where at the beginning of the week I was on time with kind of things that I planned, doing the things that I wanted to get done, making time to get to the gym, having a regulated session within the gym, coming home, doing my evening routine, feeling really great, going to bed at a reasonable time, ticking the things off my to-do list that need to be done. As the week and the thing is about that part is that when you're in that part, you genuinely feel oh my god, I could never imagine not ever doing this. This feels so normal, this feels so great, I love this version of me, and you feel really good about it. But then as you start to put more pressure on yourself, because you're doing so well, you put more pressure on yourself. I can do more, I can do more, I can do more. that pressure slowly erodes that feeling of safety, and then you go into a state, you shift out of regulated state into an unregulated state, and from that place these habits and rituals start to slip away, and you can slowly snowball into like a version of yourself that is completely different to the version that was at the beginning of the week. And for me, what that looked like was where at the beginning of the week I was eating like very clean, healthy meals that support my system because I wanted to, not because I was forcing myself to the end of the week, literally making a pan full of pasta, like, and I'm not even exaggerating, a pan, filling it with cheese and tuna and just yamming it until I like, at a certain point I had to be like, you're full, stop eating the pasta. And like it was an unrecognizable, and then like obviously I go up to bed, I'm doom scrolling, and then you feel worse and you go to bed late, and it's like, where did this come from? Like, where did this version of me come from? It's unrecognizable from the version that was at the beginning of the week. And it was a slow kind of gradual process of me starting to put pressure on myself, that pressure causing unsafety in my body, that unsafety meaning that I stopped doing the things that keep me regulated, and that unregulation then led to poor decision making, poor choices, and almost like a self-sabotage. I don't want to call it self-sabotage, but like it seems from the outside like a self-sabotage behavior, but it's really you just seeking comfort from things that you find comfort in. And so yeah, that's kind of what I want to talk about today, because it's a common pattern we see with people with their body goals, where you start out really well with a goal in mind and you are doing well. So you're doing the basics, you're starting to eat well, you're starting to train more, and you feel good. Everything's great. But something happens and you put more pressure on yourself. And that pressure could come from like a time. So like something pops up where it's like a last minute holiday pop up, or you book a trip, or you just see that you're progressing and you just want to get there faster, or you like maybe see a picture of yourself where it's not what you want to see, and that puts pressure on you. And where you were doing well, you decide you want to ramp it up a bit more, and you start tightening the schedule, trying to add more, trying to do more, trying to restrict more. And you tip over from where your body was in safety, you tip over now into body's in stress. And where you've tried to pile so much on, you're now not even doing the basics of what you was doing in the first place to feel safe in the routines that you were doing. And so you just stop everything, or like you are finding it more difficult to do the things that you were doing before. And when you find it more difficult to do the things you were doing before, you start to feel like, I can't trust myself. Like I was motivated before, I was doing all the things, and now I'm not doing them. I can't trust myself. I'm someone that doesn't reach their goals. I'm someone that's just going to stay like this. And then that feeds into the complete capitulation sometimes of like, just going to binge, I'm just going to stop going to the gym. And from that point, then usually comes a reset point of, whilst you're in that chaotic, dysregulated state, you start planning for the next phase of, okay, well, I'm doing this right now, but what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to tighten the plan. I'm going to plan an even better plan than I had before, because then that's going to get me to the goal. I'll start that on Monday. Let me just do what I want to do until then, and the cycle completes. And that is what I want to explain to people today. If that sounds like something that happens to you, I want to teach you today how we can get out of that situation. So I kind of have gone into the meat. We're in the meat now. This loop is like a pressure control collapse loop. It's something that we can easily mitigate and control. And it's just a 3-step process. The first step of the process is just basic awareness of what's happening. It's you being able to stop yourself. Now you know this in the moment, and just say, I've noticed this before. I tend to do this. I'm aware of it. I'm aware that I'm starting to get unregulated. So in the moment where you're feeling the pressure's piling on, and you start to try and tighten up your routine, just notice, this is something that I've done before, and this is me trying to cope with feeling dysregulated. What would help right now is to do something that would help me to feel regulated. Step 2 is don't add any new rules, even if you have started to spiral. Don't add anything else. Don't try and tighten up your plan. Don't try and add more to the plan. Don't try and restrict more. What we're going to do is just stick to the basics. So the things that you've had in place that have been working before, stick to them. And this is especially important if you do practice nervous system regulation, which I suggest you do. You keep them basics intact. So if it's for you breath work, keep that. If it's for you going for a walk, keep that. And we just stick to the basics. We don't add anything else. We don't take anything away. We just keep to the basics. Number 3 is just that picking one thing, and that happens no matter what. Especially if you're dysregulated, this is the tool that you always go to that you know is going to make you feel better in the moment, and you just do it. Like, we just do this regardless. So for me, it is going for a walk, because I do have a dog and I haven't been doing it, but that tends to be my one thing that, like, even if I'm starting to feel like I can feel that I'm starting to get pressured, I'm starting to feel the pressure, I'm starting to feel this way, I'll go for a walk with the dog, and normally that kind of takes me out of it and I can get back into my routine. Kind of the 3-step process. Number 1 is we notice that we're starting to get dysregulated, and we just say it out loud and we're aware of it. Number 2 is we try to stick to the basics of the things that we know that work, and we don't try and add or take anything away to tighten it up or make it more effective. And number 3 is that we have a basic regulation or a basic principle that we stick to no matter what, that we always do, that we know will pull us out of that state more often than not, and we do it. So even if you don't feel like doing anything else, we do that one thing, and usually that's enough to kind of tip you back into regulation, and we can continue on as we are. But it's also knowing that, these things are going to happen. We don't just, even if you practice manifestation principles or you practice nervous system regulation, you're not always going to be regulated. Things happen, shit happens in the day, people piss you off, situations go wrong. Like for me, for example, if you look at this, I've snapped the thing that holds the mic up this morning. I tried to super glue it, it then fell off, but that pissed me off. I was annoyed, but it's just, things happen. You just have to be able to cope with them. And when we aren't able to cope with them, it takes our capacity away to do the little basic things that we do in our day that build up to our big results. With our body goals, it's not one big thing that we do that leads to a result. It's a collection throughout the day of little things that add up every day, and them days add up. When you are unregulated and you have the capacity taken away from you to do these little things, you start to feel frustrated, and that frustration compounds, and that's what we want to mitigate. So as much as you can, try and use this 3-step principle, and it will help. Okay, so the final part of the pod today is the gravy. So normally we would have Q&A, so if you do have any questions on your body goals that you want me to answer, then just leave a comment or post it on my Instagram, Lauren C.A. Dowling, can DM me. But we don't have any today, so I'm going to talk a little bit about something that relates to this, and that is detachment. So detachment is one of the principles that in manifestation that I struggled with so much, didn't really understand what it meant. So I'm going to try and say it simply and just tell you how it relates back to this. And detachment basically is you releasing the end goal. So you setting your intention of what you want. So me, for example, saying I want to be in my dream body this year. I want a bigger bunda, I want a smaller waist, is my goal. So I set the intention. I asked the universe for help. I went about embodying the person that I wanted to become. And that led me to sort of habits, rituals, things that I was going to do every day or certain points in the week that would lead me to that goal. I was embodying the person that I wanted to become, using reprogramming systems to reprogram that into my subconscious mind, yada, yada, yada. The detachment part is I stopped checking. So you stop checking to see if your end goal has been reached. You stop looking in the mirror to see, am I there yet? You stop obsessing about being there. You just take each day as it comes, doing the things you know you need to do, in the right energy, feeling good as you would if you was in that goal, and enjoy the process, pretty much, is what detachment is. And the science behind the detachment part is that when you are detached from the end goal and you don't obsess about it and you don't keep thinking about it, you take the pressure off. So you let your nervous system feel safe in the process that you're doing on a daily basis. And so you can consistently do them habits over time, and eventually you get there. When you don't detach, after a while, it's fine for the first few weeks or months or however long it is to get to your goal, but you start to feel antsy about getting there when you keep checking, and you're like, oh, why am I not there yet? Why am I not there yet? And that's where the pressure comes in, and you lose the capacity to be able to keep up with the things that you were saying you were going to do, because your nervous system starts to feel pressure. When it starts to feel pressure, the nervous system, it primed for you to keep up with the things you want to do, so you start to fall into bad habits, you start to fall back into old cycles. The key is detachment. It's stop worrying about the end goal. So like for me, this is a perfect example, going back to the beginning story. Although I want to get there quickly with this business and having the impact that I want to have on people and be an authority in this space, me checking every 5 seconds to see if I've got likes on my posts or whatever is never going to get me there any quicker. It's only going to tip me into dysregulation. All I can do every day is show up and do the things that I said I was going to do in a good energy, feeling great, and do that consistently over time. And over time, I will get there. But it's not going to help to keep checking, because it's like, what is it? A watched pot doesn't boil, or a watched kettle doesn't boil. Like, and it doesn't. You just have to be consistent. You have to feel good about the things that you're doing, and you have to just let go of the end goal, and you will get there. So that is it today. That's the end of the episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back next Monday. So yeah, enjoy your week, and I'll see you then.